Professor Huntington, what is the clash of civilizations?
Well, the clash of civilizations is a phrase I created to describe what seems to me to be a central feature of the post-Cold War world as far as international politics is concerned. During the Cold War, countries were grouped into three major blocks: the free world, led by the United States; the communist bloc, led by the Soviet Union; and then the third world of non-aligned nations, including obviously India as a prominent member, where a lot of the struggle during the Cold War took place. Well, those three blocks have passed into history, and so the question is, what will be the major groupings of states in the post-Cold War world, and what factors will shape the relations among states?
I think the book suggests, and the ideas you have propounded suggests a moving away from popular perceptions, that it is sort of economic imperatives that might determine.
Well, that's true. Obviously, economics is important, and economic issues and questions of trade and investment are central to the relations among countries, as are access to resources, important resources like oil. But it seems to me, if one looks at what is happening in the world today, states are realigning themselves along cultural lines, whereas during the Cold War it was a politics and ideology that predominated. Now in the relations among states, now it is culture. And states with similar cultures are coming together. States with different cultures are, in many cases, moving apart, or actually splitting up, as we have seen in the cases of the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia, which were two states which encompassed the peoples of several different civilizations, and they both broke up.
Yet there is a popular perception in some senses that with the globalization of the media, and shall we say the Americanization of the media, that in some senses that global civilizations and cultures are becoming more homogeneous. So you have, the Chinese civilization is more American in some ways, perhaps, than it was before.
Well, there certainly are those aspects of globalization taking place as a result of the tremendous increase in transportation communications. And obviously, a lot of this involves Americanization because of the extent to which the United States corporations and other entities dominate these facilities for communication and transportation. And obviously, American popular culture is tremendously popular around the world in the movies and consumer goods and Coca-Cola, McDonald's, etc. But in many respects, it seems to me that much of this is relatively superficial, and people can adapt the global American culture, but underneath they still, with the other half of their lives, they still maintain their traditional practices, beliefs, ways of life of their particular civilization. And I think it's very important to draw a distinction between westernization and modernization, because all societies want to modernize, and people want to become wealthier and be able to benefit from advanced technology, but they don't necessarily want to become westernized.
You have projected the idea that that the major class of civilizations will be between the United States and China. If you were to sort of indulge in a bit of futurology, what do you think will happen when this clash takes place? Is there going to be a winner, or?
Well, I'm not quite sure what the character of the clash will be. I think if Chinese economic growth continues at anything like the rates which it has for the past couple of decades, clearly China will become more and more assertive in international affairs. And this is quite natural. When countries develop industrially, become economically stronger, they do become more assertive in global politics. This was true of Britain and France, Germany, Japan, the United States, and the Soviet Union, and it's to be expected with China. There is always the problem, however, of the accommodation of a rising power into the existing global system. And many people draw a comparison between the rise of China at the end of this century and the rise of Germany at the end of the last century. And of course, the rise of Germany eventuated in 2 world wars. And what we want to do is to avoid that with the rise of China and be able to work out arrangements and accommodations. This puts a particular problem before the United States because the Chinese have indicated that they expect to resume their hegemonic position in East Asia, a position which they had for centuries down until the middle of the 19th century. And the United States has always opposed the domination of either Western Europe or East Asia by another power. And indeed, we fought 2 world wars and a Cold War in this century to prevent that from happening. And so it seems to me the crucial relationship in the coming years is between China and the United States and trying to work out some form of accommodation.
You're described as a distinguished political cartographer. What is the map that you see of the different groupings that are now emerging?
Well, I think the major groupings that are likely to replace the 3 blocks of the Cold War are the world's principal civilizations: Western civilization, Islamic civilization, Cynic or Confucian civilization, Indian civilization, Orthodox civilization, Japanese, Latin American, African. It seems to me these are the natural groupings of states in global politics now.
You have confronted, shall we say, experienced some controversy over your pointing to the processes that Islam is going through and as being a source, or shall we say, a center of significant conflict in the globe.
Well, I think that's the case. Clearly, the Muslim world is in the midst of a tremendous Islamic resurgence, and Muslim societies are becoming more Islamic and Islamist in their behavior, beliefs, way of life. And this is a great cultural revival or renewal. Some people have compared it to the Protestant Reformation in Europe several hundred years ago, which also was an effort to renew Christianity in Europe and to purge Christianity of corruption and other things that had happened in the Catholic Church at that time. I think one has to view this Islamic resurgence as an effort in many respects at purification. Now, of course, it does have an extremist element that turns to violence, and this is exacerbated by the fact that in recent decades, Muslim societies have had very high birth rates, and this has led to the creation of a big youth bulge in Muslim societies of people between the ages of 15 and 25. And history shows that when that age grouping amounts to more than 20% of the people in a society, then there is a great likelihood of instability, violence, upheavals, revolutions, and so forth. And this is, I think we can see, is occurring in Muslim societies, and that there is a very high level of social violence of Muslims against Muslims and Muslims